Everybody wants to know what I would do if I didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
The last op standing is finally eliminated. Indiana Pacers win this series 4-2 in Game 6 versus the New York Knicks, 125-108. This Eastern Conference playoffs, man, there was a lot of bandwagon activity. Now, I started out with my team, the Miami Heat, and the home team, the Detroit Pistons, and then, Cleveland beat Miami, so now I'm an Indiana Pacers fan come that next round. And then also you got the team in green. So any team that's going against them, I am going to root against that team in green. All right. So I was a New York Knicks fan. Sometimes it's the lesser of two evils. Knicks, the team in green. I'll choose the Knicks in that situation. But come the conference finals, I'm an Indiana Pacers fan because, like I said, the New York Knicks was the last op standing. And quite frankly, coming into this game on the road, I don't think the New York Knicks produce enough easy baskets for them to get a win on the road that they needed tonight. Indiana was going to blow the doors off them either way. Now, they put up a good fight in the first half, gave you a little bit of hope, but they were still down by 4 at halftime. All right? At no point did I think the New York Knicks had a chance to win this game. When you look at the way that they were playing in the first half, it was very... Let's do this, okay? When you look at the way the Pacers were scoring, a lot of ball movement, making the right next play, right? Easier baskets. Nobody was handling the basketball way too much. Tough shots, fighting through contact just to get a simple layup. There was none of that. They were playing together, moving the basketball around. Everything was popping. You look at the New York Knicks, they had to scratch and claw for every single bucket. That's not something you want to see on the road in a Game 6, and you got to force another one to get you back to your arena. You do not want to see that. So there was ugly signs early in this game. In the same situation that, Minnesota faced against OKC, turnovers. The turnovers are going to kill you every time. Now, you look at the way, they were playing tonight, total turnovers, 18 points to 13 for Indiana. They gave up 34 points off of their own turnovers. Versus 13 points they scored off of 13 turnovers from the Indiana Pacers. That's how you lost the game. Really, look at that category. That's how you lost the game because there's a 21-point difference right there. I mean, that's simple basketball math, right? Didn't shoot it too bad. 47% from the field. Struggled from 3 with 28%. 41 rebounds. Out-rebounded Indiana. I mean, let me look at the box score real quick. But OG Anunoby, 5 rebounds, Cat 14, 9 from Mitchell Robinson. You look down here, I mean, nobody over 6. So you pretty much had control of the glass the entire game. Cat 22 and 14, OG 24. You get 19 from Jalen Brunson, all right? The defense that Nembhard played on Brunson throughout the course of this game, throughout the course of this series, phenomenal. They showed a graphic. He was like, I think Brunson was 9 of 24, 9 of 34, something like that. One of those two numbers, but I'm going to go with 9 of 24. That's a good percentage considering how he performed against other players that regard him. Some guys, he was 11 for 15 from the field. So you can definitely see that Nembhard played a big role, especially in this game alone. He was in his jersey all night. Made it really tough for him to get free. When I look at this series, every single thing about a team that is coached by Tom Thibodeau reared its ugly head. And you see the same thing every time. Everybody's looking at, hey, you need to play some more guys. You need to make sure you give minutes here and there so Brunson can get a rest, Cat can get a rest, OG, Bridges, Hart, those guys can get a rest every now and then. Okay, that's part of the argument. But you just get into a habit where there's no continuity in your offense. It is find either player 1 or player 2, and we just play off of that. That is not going to be effective against a defense like Indiana. Same exact scenario like Minnesota faced when they played OKC. They were playing tenacious defense the entire game. Top to bottom, they were picking you up full court, and come the second half, it was much more of a, all right, let's stop playing with our food. let's stop playing around with these dudes. Let's send them home, all right? Because we got bigger things to fry. Let's stop playing with our food. Send Brunson, send Cat, send them dudes home, all right? Get them up out of here. They really turned it up, and you seen them put their foot down, and I think it was a good portion of it. Halliburton was on the bench. You had T.J. McConnell, Nembhard, Siakam, Thomas Bryant was on the court at the time. Thomas Bryant came up big in this game. I mean, as a Miami Heat fan, this is surprising to me because typically in the playoffs, he ain't give you much else. Dude came in, knocked down wide open threes, gave you a spark, 3 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the line, 11 points. Anytime you can get that from a dude that barely plays any minutes, it's going to be one of those games. And it's just like I said in the Minnesota OK series. If you get home, all of those others in the big game, if you are moving the basketball around, everybody's getting involved, playing tough defense, those others are going to have big nights. Obi Toppin, 18 points. That's a big game for him. I already talked about the 11 from Bryant. Let's talk about the 14 from Nembhard. Talked about his defense, right? If you can do that to Jalen Brunson and then give him 14 on the other side, that's only a 5-point difference. You normally don't see that when it's a star versus a player of a lesser caliber. That's like SGA being guarded by McDaniels. You're going to look and say, all right, McDaniels is going to give you 10, but SGA is going to give you 30. That's a 20-point gap between the defensive stopper and the star go-to scorer on the other team. So it's not going to bode well if that gap goes from this to this and you can't get any stops either. That's tough sledding. That's very tough sledding. Now, Siakam, I don't know what got into this man. Let's talk about this dude real quick because I have not seen this Siakam. 2019 is probably the last time we've seen this version of him. I mean, 31, 15, 30, 17. I think he had 39 in game 3. Like, this dude was going crazy in this series. A 30-point game every other game and 15 and 17. I mean, I'll still live with that, even though those are losses. But when he plays to this level, when he plays like that, this team is hard to beat. Now, let's look at how I'm gonna do this. Let's look at the NBA Finals matchup with the OKC Thunder. Because one thing that is going to be 100% for certain, I don't know how many mismatches you're gonna find in this series. I mean, when you look at OKC, their ability to switch everything on the perimeter. I mean, SGA can guard, Caruso can guard, Jalen Williams, he can guard. Dort, obviously, he's the obvious one because he's the spearhead. You know, he's always picking up the best player on the other team. You look at Indiana, Halliburton, he can play defense. He's not a stopper, but he's a willing defender, great in passing lanes, high basketball IQ, you know, makes right reads defensively, when to go, when to stay on his guy. Nembhard can hold his own. Nesmith got hurt, right? So we need to keep an eye on that because he's going to be a very important part of guarding SGA. I don't know how they did it, you know, in the regular season, but we're going to have to look at that. So regular season, Indiana Pacers, I think they played twice. They were 0 for 2 against OKC. Where is OKC? All right, right here. This is going to be a defensive series, I feel like. It's not going to be one of those. Obviously, everybody's going to pick OKC, and rightfully so. 68-14 on the year. The dominance that they displayed over the course of the playoffs against Milwaukee, the dominance they displayed against Minnesota, the ability to overcome a championship level core and 3-time MVP in the Denver Nuggets, they're properly prepared for what's gonna happen next. So let's look at this. All right, SGA 45, Jalen Williams 25 and 4. You get 11 and 13 from Hardenstein, 13 from Dort, 7 rebounds. bench production, so-so. I mean, very so-so, but mostly anybody that's coming off the bench, they're really coming in to be disruptors and play defense. Siakam, 22, 23 points from Nembhard, 18 from Mathurin, 4 points and 8 assists from Tyrese Halliburton. I would imagine that has something to do with the defense that was played. I'll have to actually go back and review some of the film, some of the footage to see if there's anything that I see on film that's going to give me a great indication of what this NBA Finals is actually going to look like. But first perspective, I think this series is really going to come down to stops. I mean, this is a regular season game. 30 games into the season. Nobody's playing up to the championship level. So all of this that you see right here, 114 to 120, this is fool's gold. Any success that Indiana possibly had in the regular season against this team is fool's gold. But to give you an idea of what you're possibly going to be looking at, there's going to be I feel like there's going to be a lot of rebounding in this series. A lot of rebounding. You're going to have to make timely threes, timely shots. Both of these teams can get on runs, and things can get out of hand quick. Whoever wins on the road or is able to actually keep the game close on the road within 5 points, I'd say late in the fourth quarter on the road, that's probably going to be the team that you see win this series. One big thing about this series is this right here. This right here. Tyrese Halliburton, okay? He cannot have games like this. All right, if you can't see it, but that says 4 points, 8 assists, 2 of 6 from the field. He has got to be around that 15 to 20 range if they're going to have a chance. And I say 15 to 20 specifically because there's games where he's actually not even looking to score. He's moving the ball, playing within the flow of the game. But because of this is the NBA Finals, okay? There's going to be situations where somebody has to hit a big shot. He has to be that guy. And he has clutch gene. He's going to have situations where you get to the third quarter, you're on a run or you need a run, he can ignite that. Fourth quarter, need a run, he can ignite that. He can give you a quick 10 any given moment of the game, but it's going to be more important for his scoring to take the forefront of things come the fourth quarter. I mean, I look at Nembhard, I look at, TJ McConnell, Siakam, all those guys can initiate offense. So it's not a situation where Halliburton, has to do it all and nobody else can help. This is not Minnesota, all right? This is Indiana. From what we've seen throughout the course of this playoffs, especially in the series with the Knicks, they're well equipped to deal with some of the things that OKC is going to throw their way. But the most important thing is Halliburton cannot have situations where he's not being aggressive offensively, looking for his own shot. He is a true point guard in every sense. Yes, he had, the 32, 15, and 10, something crazy like that with no turnovers a couple games ago. Great performance. Dominant. Never seen it before. All-time great performance. You're not going to have that against OKC. You're going to need to make timely baskets. You're going to have to make timely decisions to put the ball on the floor. Timely decisions to knock down wide open threes. You're not pulling up from the parking lot on a whim against OKC. You're going to have to maximize every single opportunity, especially with Dort on you, especially with Caruso hounding you, especially with all these different weapons they can throw at you defensively. You have got to make sure you are still being aggressive and forcing situations where not necessarily in the bad situations, but forcing the person guarding you to guard you against the shot, guard you against the drive, guard you not just to, all right, he's going to come across half court, run the offense, make a pass. You have got to maintain that you are a threat to score the basketball. That's going to help your other guys loosen up, probably play a little bit more confident if they see you doing that. One thing that I say about OKC is this. Jalen Williams has got to make sure he wins his matchup versus Siakam. Siakam had 31 tonight. He had 3 30-point games in the New York series, and they won all of them. Jalen Williams has got to win his matchup. If he can win that matchup, I think this is the gentleman's sweep. Gentleman's sweep. Now, Hartenstein is going to be very important, and so is Chet in this series, because when you look at the other side, they play they like to go small a lot. But Hartenstein, he's not one of those bigs that you can just take off, that you have to take off the basketball court when the other team goes small. You can keep him on the court and still play big with Chet at the 4, Williams at the 3, SGA and Dort all on the basketball court together. You can still do that. You can still do that and be successful at it. So I don't see this as a series where, if they go, Toppin, Siakam, Nembhard, Halliburton, if they go that, small guy lineup, they got to take him off the court. No. Play big, dominate the glass, get it to your guy, let him push the basketball. OKC is going to be rocking. But as we seen tonight, so is Indiana. So like I said, all right, Williams, win your matchup. Hartenstein, you and Chet play big, dominate the glass. And then you look at the other side, Halliburton, you cannot disappear offensively. You need to look to score the basketball. Overall, you have to make sure you can keep it close on the road. Whoever can do those things is going to have the majority of the success. My personal pick, I got OKC in 5 games. Give this video a like, subscribe in the channel. Let me know in the comments. Does OKC win this in 5, 4, or does Indiana have a chance to win this series? That's one more for the good guys.